You are listening to the AngieChu Podcast Radio Network.
I'm not sponsored, but gray matter, blue light glasses are really stylish and nice, and I like them. So buy them. Gray matter, sponsor me.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Bananas Toast Podcast, where we are recapping Season 1 of The Circle US. This is for Episode 4, Planting Doubt. And without further ado, I am one half of this podcast, the AngieChu.
And the other half of this podcast, everyone's favorite father figure, weird uncle, black truck driving, pancake eating and loving, hot dog loving, new recipient of a St. Louis Blues jersey and now hockey jersey wearing Papa D.
Woo! I didn't know you were a hockey fan.
I'm not, but my mother sent me a hockey jersey because I saw hers. It was really comfortable, and can't go wrong with the St. Louis Blues in my area. So I'm like, yeah, this is comfortable. This is nice. This is big. It's baggy. I dig it. Can I get a hockey jersey? She was ecstatic and like, yeah, you want a hockey jersey for your birthday present? I'm like, absolutely. Let's do this. And I'm like, absolutely, let's do this. Let's go. And we did. And so she sent me one, and I'm like, heck yeah, Blues jersey. So I'm like, okay, we're good now. Like, sweet. I just got it today, already wearing it. It's amazing. This is my Blues jersey. I may start watching hockey now. I don't even know.
I think you should. Like, when we met, for anyone who isn't aware, we've known each other for 13 years now. Our friendship as a teenager, we met in college, and I did not watch wrestling, and Papa D did, and I never got any of the wrestling references. And I started watching wrestling like 3-4 years ago and fell in love with it. So now it's my turn to watch you fall in love with one of my favorite sports. They're in the playoffs right now, so watching it right now wouldn't be as fun, but I'll let you know when next season starts, and that way you can start from scratch. Cough, cough, go Preds.
Oh, God, yes. The Predator territory is deep here. I got a friend who's a super Preds fan. I'm going to be one of those weirdos. If I buy a Predators jersey, it's because I got golden pants to match it, just so that way I can walk out the house just looking golden and yellow and be like, what's up? Yeah. But yeah, no, believe me, I get it. The Preds territory is deep here. I'm happy for y'all Preds fans out there. If you happen to be listening, I know y'all won the Stanley Cup last year. Yep. Congratulations. I know y'all went insane. This year, it's okay. Both our teams didn't do well. Mine got knocked out first, apparently, from what I've heard. Preds didn't make it through the playoffs either, but it is what it is.
There's always a tomorrow. Yeah, Zach wants Sander to be a wrestler, and I'm hoping for a hockey player because we can get him started with hockey earlier, and he can get that scholarship to University of Nashville and then go on and play for the Preds. See, I'm thinking long term. Plus, Antonio, our friend, not Antonio from the Circle, we'll get to him in a second, but Papa D and I's friend Antonio plays hockey and is allowed to teach children's hockey. So once Sanders like 2 or 3, he's going to take him on the ice and just get him used to skating, basically. So I'm excited. He said I can pay him in like booze and hot wings, and that's completely fine with me because hockey is ridiculously expensive to like put your kids in. So if I can pay the coach the first few years in like booze and hot wings, I am completely down with that.
The skate sharpening alone is hundreds of dollars. That's not cheap. So yeah, no. You got pads, like the jersey, the pads, everything. No, nothing about this is cheap. You know what? It is what it is. Sports isn't cheap. Putting your kids through stuff like that.
And that's just expensive.
You got to worry about, oh my God, we got to send them to away games. I'm like, oh God. So happy I'm not a breeder. I'm so happy I'm not a breeder. No children for me. None. Zero.
I'm gonna lose so much money. It'll be worth it,
Yes.
but
Yes, you knew that
I
when you decided
did.
to choose this mom life.
I
Mom life
did.
didn't choose you, you chose it. Chose it when you did the sex with your husband. You laid in your marital bed and you left with child.
I did. It was a birthday present last year. We're coming up on a year of me finding out I'm having a wee one. That was interesting. Turning 30 in a pandemic, and I can't have a glass of wine, but I got a child out of it, so it was worth it.
Hey, I got a hockey jersey. I got a girlfriend out of it, and then I lost a girlfriend. But I got a hockey jersey. So you know what? All is well that ends well.
I'm just gonna keep putting this on like all of our episodes at the start until someone slides in your DMs. For anyone, especially now that we're on YouTube as well, so people can see our wonderful faces. I'm married and babied, but Papa D is single and looking to mingle. So you guys should totally slide in his DMs. He's kinky, and he likes thickness. So I realize you can take that multiple ways, but whatever. Yeah, slide in his DMs, make him a happy man. He does not want his own children. He likes being the fun uncle. So for anyone who's also not wanting children, perfect opportunity.
Fair warning, as she said, don't want kids. Also, must be moderately to heavily tattooed. Okay, I like that because tattooed women look better naked. Okay, it's just like women are like cars. You got a classic car with a regular paint job, which is dope. But at the same time, then you got this Fast and the Furious car that looks like a regular grocery runner, but at the same time, like you actually look at it like, oh snap, look at all that body paint. That's permanent. Look at it, all tatted up and painted so pretty. Oh my God, yes. I love me some heavily tattooed women. Like I need a good 45% of your body to have tattoos on.
Oh wow, that's a lot.
Okay, I'm gonna say minimum 35, but like 35% is the lowest I'm talking about. I like arm sleeves. If you got a full back tat, I'm like, oh my God, marry me. Especially if you got your cleavage area tatted up. I don't meet many women with that, and you know what? Automatic like that. I'm like, you have your cleavage tatted. That's dope. Like, I'm trying not to look at your boobs. You are making that impossible by just having that cleavage tattoo. I'm like, cleavage tattoo, cleavage tattoo, cleavage tattoo, cleavage tattoo, cleavage tattoo, cleavage tattoo. What's it say? What's it do? I want to lick it.
Well, since we have, on the topic of women with lots of tattoos, since we have two heavily tatted women on the circle, this is the perfect transition to it. So we pick up right where last episode left off with Chris and Shubham. They are the influencers. So they go up to the secret meeting area to decide who to block. They made me hungry because they get some delicious sushi that looked amazing. And Shuby makes his second Spider-Man reference of the season. So Shuby really likes Spider-Man.
Yes, he does. Can't say I blame him. Spider-Man, he's definitely the most dramatic hero I've dealt with when it comes to the Marvel Universe. Oh my God. The cartoons alone was half soap opera of just losing Mary Jane, getting Mary Jane back. The series finale was ridiculous when it comes, like, just so much. You see him go through so much trying to balance life and superheroing and all this stuff. It's ridiculous. But Shuby, more power to you. But basically, while they're deliberating over sushi, which I'm not a fan of, Angie loves it. I need hot food. That's really a big thing.
You can get deep fried sushi.
Want to be that cliche though? Like, eat that deep fried. Thank you. But it is what it is. The other players basically just started chat because they're freaking out. Everyone's just literally on their on their tiptoes, just freaking out. Joey is doubting Shoebomb's allegiance. Like, this is where you prove to me that you are my friend, that you're my brother. If you're real, then I should be going home tonight. Seaburn's appearance, Rebecca / Seaburn is about to cry, basically. Some are trying to stay calm, like Antonio. Antonio's over here, like, what happens, man. I'm not gonna sit and freak outside of my hands now. So we're gonna do what we gotta do and be who we gotta be and stuff like that. And pretty much that's everyone's emotions at this point. And all they can do now is just wait for Shuby and Chris to figure it out.
Yep. So they go, one by one through a lot of the people. Shuby's really primary number one goal at this point is to protect Joey. So he gets that out of the way super quick. He brings up that Joey's like a brother to him. He loves Joey. Chris says he likes Joey, but Joey's too much too soon, too flirty. He's not sure where he stands with him. And Shuby just immediately is like, I will not be able to look at myself in the mirror if Joey goes home. Moving on. And I'm like, you go, Shuby. You protect your bro. Like, it was off the table. Like, Shabam is like, we are not entertaining even the slightest thought of sending Joey home. And then he transitions on to Rebecca at that point. They both agree that they love Rebecca, so they don't discuss her much either. Chris thinks that she might be a catfish, but he's not for sure. He doesn't have anything concrete. So he's like, let's just let it go. She's fine otherwise. We'll move on to someone else. They go to Antonio, and Chris says he feels like he doesn't really know Antonio. And I don't think we have seen them interact on the show. Shuby says, he has talked with Antonio some, he likes him, and Antonio saved them both when he was an influencer, but Shuby does admit that other people think he's a catfish. Shuby doesn't have reason to, but other people do think he's a catfish. He says Sammy is sweet and authentic. Again, Chris doesn't have much of a tie to her either compared to other people, and it basically comes down, ironically, to the first two influencers, which are Antonio and Sammy. They're now on the chopping block.
They are. In which case Shuby feels need to go like, we're basically deciding between the two people who both could have sent us home last time and didn't. And so basically they sit there, they deliberate, and then the results are in. They figure it out, and then the house gets ready to hear it and learn. In Ben's case, suspense, drama. And then we find out they are sending Antonio home. Mixed emotions. Because here's the thing. Joey is ecstatic because Joey, on one hand, thinks Antonio is a catfish. And also, on the other hand, frankly, they don't get along because they're two tools on the same wall of the shed. Like, for real. Like, I'm sorry. They're both two tool-like individuals. Just not super sharp, but at the same time, powerful and useful and, can mess up your day if they hit you in the head. In which case, Joey's ecstatic. Antonio then decides he gets to meet one player, and he chooses Mercedes / Karen. And the look on his face said it all. Just like, oh, what? Catfish. They talk and they chop it up.
It's funny how, like, from the second he stepped into Karen's apartment, he knew something was up. Like, I guess just based on, the personality he was getting from Mercedes and then seeing how it's decorated, he was just like, no. And then he rounds the corner and sees her and he's like, oh, shit. And, this interaction makes me see, even more so why Karen is doing this. Because remember, her thing, and she says it to him too, is she's playing Mercedes as her real self, basically. Mercedes is even her middle name. But since she has, more of a brash, hardcore lesbian attire, most people judge her for that. They don't see the sensitive, flirty, soft side. So she's just putting this random female's picture and playing her otherwise. And I can even see that because you could tell going down the hall, Antonio's probably like, oh yeah, I'm going to see Mercedes, probably going to get a kiss goodbye, get her number. And they're cool at the end of it. Like, they're cool, but it's a bro feel. It's like, let's do the secret handshake. you have a good day. And so I feel a little bad because you can really see it there. Like immediately it goes from, here's this pretty, skinny thing to, oh yeah, let's have a beer. So, I know you hate catfishes, but it really showed in this scene why Karen is choosing to put a different picture on for herself.
It did. She did defend herself. She defended herself admirably. I can say that. At the same time, no, I don't like it, but I get at least that this is for this game. This is for this game. They're trying to win 100 grand. And you know what? She makes a good point of just like if I were to slide in your DMs and be like, "What's up, bro?" Just as a friend or something, would you give me the time of day? He was like, "Yeah." He makes a good point. He didn't say no, but he basically said no without saying no. And it's just one of those things where it's like I can understand at the very least why she decided to do this. My thing is just I hope they don't do this in real life. That's really it. And part of me just honestly feels like they're too good at this to not do this in real life, which is a problem. Like, no, with all the pictures and profile pictures they have and stuff like that, I'm like, no, you're too good at this to not do this in real life, just on the real talk. And I'm not a fan of that. And I
So
get it's just for the game for 100 grand, so I can maybe that's the excuse this time. But like in real life, no, I don't want anybody pulling that type of crap.
So without revealing anything, of the catfish from this season and from US season 2, I feel like Seaburn and Karen probably hopefully don't do this at home. I do admit they're the best of the catfish. But I think it's because Karen is playing herself just with stock photos. Like she just literally went to a stock photo website, and when you're on stock photos, if you find one you like, you can search by that model and see all the pictures that model has shot. So she literally just ripped this model's pictures down to use them. But she's playing herself, so it comes across more authentic. And then Seaburn is basically just playing Rebecca, like playing his girlfriend, like thinking, what would Rebecca say? And I think they were together 2-3 years from his intro. So they're really good, but I think they have a way to be good. Some of the other catfish we start to see this season and next season, a lot of them will slip up and make dumb mistakes, or it come across as weird where like their personality shifting. And the ones that are really, really good, if they're not a professional actor, they probably have catfished at some point IRL, or maybe a writer. I feel like I could take one of my book characters, like Blythe is the main female in my main book series, Bellam. I could probably play Blythe Washington really, really well and make it authentic, but it's because I've written 5 books about this person. So I know her well. But most of these people are not writers, they're not actors. So the ones that are good, unfortunately, probably are catfishing and not just doing it for the show only. The rest, they kind of choke at some point, a lot of them, and you can tell this is their first time catfishing. And it, especially season 2, there's some hilarious moments of catfishes just dropping the ball.
But she basically defends herself, and they also talk about how they actually think Sammy's a catfish. Just that, like that, still's lingering. I want to say my female persona that I've never used this, and I got this deemed at work because, on one of my rants at work during a team meeting. Apparently, my female persona is Beyonce. I'm like no, but at the same time, it's like oh god. But anyway, Antonio gets to leave a message before he leaves, and basically it's a video message. And during the video message, of course, we get to see his face, like we did with the previous woman. And this sends Joey on a downward spiral of like, I suck. I just sent this man home, and he wasn't a catfish. He was real. And I'm just like, yeah, but you still basically hated on this dude just by his profile. Like, literally, it's just 2 stereotypical alpha dudes who just don't like each other. It's like, it's just one of those things where I'm like, bro, I mean, it's one of those things where I'm looking at like, You talked a bunch of shit about the dude. Well, it wasn't about him being a catfish. You just didn't like this dude's personality, period, because he challenged you. But anyway, without saying he does, he acknowledges he met with the catfish, leaving the entire house in disarray, the entire building in disarray. Like, like I'm not gonna tell you much, but I'm just gonna say, people are not who they appear to be. It is, and then just leaves with that, and it's like, oh god. And everyone just starts speculating, and everyone just thinks themselves he met with Mercedes, Karen, and someone else. Everyone basically throws that name out. He either went with Mercedes / Karen, or either like Sammy, or just a number of people. But her name constantly is coming up. And so basically after this, Shuby messages Joey, and Joey thought Antonio was a catfish and he feels horrible about it. Shuby questions whether they should work with Chris, and basically they're just like, guys alliance, let's stick together. And so they invite Chris to the chat, and they all check in with each other, basically being like, how do you feel after this? Are we all good? And they're like, yeah, for the most part. But at the same time, Chris is there to use these two to win. Chris is the Beyonce of their Destiny's Child clique. And I'm just like, you know what? It is what it is, man. I can't blame you for that.
So Joey's Kelly and Shuby's Michelle.
I'm sure they could probably switch, but yeah, we'll go with that. I was obviously not a Destiny's Child fan. I was not. I didn't get into their music.
They were a weird group because I would say I was a fan, but because of like the stardom of Beyonce, like I feel wrong saying I was a fan, because I was just a fan as like, I like their music. They have fun music. I did a couple of dance routines in middle school to some of their songs, but because of Beyonce, you've got these like super fans, that have leached backwards into Destiny's Child too. And it's like, I don't know their birthdays. I don't know their kids' names other than Blue Ivy. Like, I don't know all these details. So it's like, I guess you would say I was like an early 2000s fan, but in 2021, not really, because I don't know enough about them. I just think they have good songs, and I know the members' names.
You know more than I do, and I can tell you right now, I am not that big of a fan of anybody. I don't know Adele's birthday, or if she has kids, if they are, what are their names. I don't know, like, nah. I like their product, their music. It, like, you know what I mean? Like in Beyonce, I like some of her stuff. Never gotten to Destiny, but it's like, nah, don't be. You're not a super fan. You are, if nothing else, you are a casual fan. You enjoy their music, but you're not sitting here like, oh my god, they just posted. They're not following them on social media. Everything they do, they just posted that they like French toast. That they like French toast with avocado jam. That's all I'm eating now. Go to the store. Buy me avocado jam. Like, and just like, no. And it's okay. Okay, you got other stuff to do. But
before we move on, if anyone wants to super fan talk with me, if you haven't seen from what I post on my Twitter, if you want to discuss Incubus, 30 Seconds to Mars, or NSYNC, which is probably, I would say, my biggest super fandom of all time, hit me up. I know things I probably shouldn't. I'll just say, because I posted it publicly when I was drunk a few years ago, I know Jared Leto's address. I'm not insane enough to go there and get arrested, but I did take an hour one night and figured out his address. It wasn't that hard. I feel kind of bad that it was so easy to find. But yeah, talk to me. Talk to me. I know deets.
Don't do that, kids.
You can find out people's addresses. You just can't go stalk them. I am a responsible super fan. It was like a yes moment that I figured it out because I heard it was easy to find and I found it. But that's it. I'm not going anywhere near that property. Like, Mr. Leto, you're safe. I'm not that stupid.
No, I'm not sitting here tracking Maddie's address or Lita or Trish Stratus's address in Canada. Okay, no. Get that, no, I'm respecting these people's privacy. I don't want to know their addresses.
I kind of want to find Maddie's for you now. It's probably relatively easy because she works at a local bar in Nashville where the Preds are.
I don't want to know. Maddie, if you ever listen to this, know this. I think you're very attractive and funny and tall, and you're one of the few people I break my tattoo rule for. But at the same time, I don't want to know your address unless you are DMing it to me or sending it to me or you invite me there for some reason. Like, no. Otherwise, I don't want to know your address. Okay. I'm letting this publicly be known. If Angie sends me her address or sends me your address, I'm gonna delete it. Just gonna straight up. I'm not reading it. Okay, I don't want to know anybody's address. I don't want to know the Rock's address. Good God, I can't. I'm good.
I
But
would be
anyway,
afraid to learn the Rock's address. I feel like learning it would put you on like a FBI list or something. He's too big of a star to figure out his address and probably not get in trouble by just having it like written down somewhere.
like I said, I'm good. I do not follow any celebrity that much, and I'm not that obsessed with anybody. But basically, speaking of obsessed, we got Sammy messages Mercedes slash Karen, and basically just to check in. And Mercedes slash Karen takes the opportunity to just basically deflect. We're not letting the house know that he met with me. We're gonna deflect off of somebody else. And she makes sure to put the attention on Rebecca slash Seaver, and who is also a catfish, but she doesn't know that, which makes this even more hilarious because I'm like, get these catfishes out. Stop eliminating the real ones. Get these catfishes out. But they're too good. I'm just like, oh God. But Miranda then messages Joey for the juiciest ass freaking message of the night, because she basically introduces herself and they check in with each other. How you doing? How you doing? And they think the catfish is Sammy. And then Miranda basically tells Joey he's handsome, and they start flirting hard. And I'm just like, oh God, Miranda, why you like this? There's so many other avenues. Stop falling in love with everyone, damn it. Oh my God.
Miranda just needs some love. And the irony is we get, you know, one of my favorite scenes in the season out of this. The flirtation just shifts into like serious discussion. And I mentioned, you know, in our past 3 episodes, when this season started, like when the first time I watched it, I did not like Joey. And then he started to grow on me in last episodes when he first started to grow on me, my first watch through. And I remember this episode is what turned me into a Joey fan, because I loved seeing, you know, how even though he was a dick to Antonio, he felt bad about sending Antonio home. But then this scene too, where he's just mega flirt and he's like, yeah, I'm a proud mama's boy. I love my family. And he asks Miranda, like, are you close to your family? And she admits, you know, she's crying in her apartment. She's like, actually, you know, my siblings and I were in the foster system. And Joey just breaks. Like, he actually starts crying because family's so important to him. You know, he talks to her, kind of calms her down. He's like, thank you so much for trusting me with this info. I have a lot of respect for you. Like, I will protect you. You know, I'd be happy to introduce you to my family and welcome you to my family. And for once, he didn't say it flirtatiously. It was just like, hey, you don't have family ties. If you need to come over for Thanksgiving or something, like, show up. Like, that's the way he put it. And I'm just like, oh my God, like my hopeless romantic little heart like melted for these two in this scene. I really loved it.
Oh God.
You know I'm like this.
No, and there's nothing wrong with that. People have told me I'm romantic as well. And here's the thing. It's not what's happening, it's the situation it's happening in. Whenever I see stuff like this in this type of show, I take it with a grain of salt. Like, I take it behind all these people are here to win money. And so they're willing to say anything some of them are going to be willing to say anything that they need to do. Maybe not even for the intent of winning the money. Because I've watched so much of the challenge, and because I absolutely hate that tall SOB from the challenge. Oh my God, I forgot his name because I put it out of my memory. No, not Fessy. The other one, the freaking one who's obsessed with bananas.
Devin?
No, Wes. The ones who obsessed with
Oh,
Wes.
Wes isn't that tall.
No, the one who's obsessed with
Oh,
Wes.
I get what you're saying.
Who's in the big-
Josh,
Yes.
your
Fuck
arch
Josh.
nemesis.
Fuck Josh. So, see, here's the thing, and that's what makes me suspicious is people like that. People who I feel like are trying to build sympathy not only within the house, but with fans. So that way fans will back them. And fans become a regular if the show decides to do multiple seasons, or the fans will back them and support them and make sure they get into other stuff like the challenge and all this other things. So it's one of those things where it's like, believe me, I feel bad for it, but at the same time, like, how much of this? All right, let's be how much this, like, if we like suddenly if photos surface that like, hey, here's her and all her brothers, they found each other after a few years apart in the foster system or something, or like, I'm like, oh, okay. So like I said, it's one of those things where I take it with a grain of salt, but I do like Joey. He respects her and stuff like that, and I do, of course, it tugs at my heartstrings that Miranda, is basically an orphan, and her and her brothers got split. I do hope at some point her and her brothers found each other again, but it is what it is. But we then move on to the game of nailed it or failed it, where players have to replicate a cake. Thank God they just get to use sponges, because part of me was like, are you? First of all, I gave him 30 minutes. I'm like, 30 minutes is not enough time to bake a cake. Let's get that straight. And decorate it? No, that is not happening. But
Yeah, Papa D, how would you have done with this? I feel like, here's the thing. I'm an artistic, creative DIY person. I love this stuff. Saying that, I've never decorated a cake other than taking like the little can of $2 frosting and smoothing it over like a bundt cake with a knife. So I feel like I would do decent, but I've never done it, so it could just all fall apart. How would you have done with this?
okay, realistically speaking, I think I would have done okay with the cake foundation. The basic shapes of just getting the colors right and the basic shapes of that. That I feel like I could have done. The flowers, I would have been screwed. The giraffe and zebra at the top of the cake, forget about it. I probably wouldn't even have tried. And like if time was of the essence, I realistically wouldn't even have tried. The icing, I could have got like I said, the base part, basically, the super basics, the shapes, the pattern, and the icing. I feel like I could have got that. It's the literally the artsy stuff, the crafting part. I need to make roses all around it. I need to put a giraffe and a zebra on top. I'm like, no, we're just like, no, we lost this. We're gonna chalk this up as an L today. I would have been a weird. It would have been in the middle ground of Shuby and Joey, because neither of them did great. Shuby just went full artistic mode, like, I'm doing what I want to do. I'm just gonna flip a coin and hope it works out. To where Joey was like, I'm trying. Joey was basically a spaz child who just was like, do this. He just was freaking out, like, I can't. Okay, what color is this? I don't even know. And just trying to get stuff done. Everyone else did decently, but this is like, those two are the most notable, just because I'm like, Shoebomb just didn't get. Shoebomb cared, but Shoebomb just went for his own design. He didn't even attempt to make a giraffe or a pet or anything like that. And Joey, I don't have the words to describe this man's cake. Like,
Chris call it colored poop?
Pretty much. Imagine you're told a 5-year-old to do it. Like a 5-year-old with ADHD who basically just procrastinated the entire 20 minutes, then found out, oh wait, something's in it for me. This is actually important. So it took the last 10 minutes to actually take it seriously and just slap something together. Like, just honestly, that's the best way to describe this. But basically, after they get through judging, everyone gets to judge the different cakes anonymously. Miranda wins. And so Miranda gets to put a video on her profile. And we find out it's just her in a bikini with tattoos. This is important. Bikini with tattoos, and it's in a loop of her just kind of doing a weird little dance with her arm and her stuff and her body. And I'm just like, oh, that's dope, that's nice. The house analyzes this video like they're the goddamn CSI digital division. They're scrubbing it, they're looking at it, comparing it to other profile pictures. This tattoo on her knee right here is not on her knee on the rock picture that she's just sitting on. Like in this tattoo here on her elbow, this isn't here in this other picture either. What the hell? Is Miranda the catfish? And everybody at this point is just over analyzing this photo because, of course, they don't know. Maybe the photos weren't taken in order. Maybe she got the tattoos at a later damn time.
That's what threw me off, because it's like how even the narrator said, like, you're not born with tattoos. So she's going to get them at different intervals, where she might upload a picture where she didn't have a tattoo and then uploads one with the tattoo and then uploads one where she has some of the tattoos. And then also, like, even where they're like this side versus that side of her body, depending on whether you're using your selfie cam or not, and depending on what apps you're using, depends on how your body lines up, where sometimes it mirrors the image and there's not a way to unmirror it. So it's like, I respect their, super Scooby-Doo sleuthing, but none of it really made sense to me, because it's stuff where it's like, she has a lot of tattoos. She's young. She's like, what, like 26, 27. So she's still probably getting tattoos pretty frequently. And she's clearly someone who uses multiple apps, because she's got her video as a boomerang. It's not just normal video, it's a boomerang. So, she uses social media apps, some of which do flip your photo. So nothing they pointed out was something where I'm like, oh my God, that's true. It just seemed like they're trying to find anything. And I think for Shuby, it's that he's pretty close to most of the people, and he's trying to find a way to like figure out who are his main people and who aren't. And Rebecca just, Seaburn needs to keep the heat off Rebecca, and is trying to find anything possible to be like, look at this person and not me.
Pretty much, because Mercedes / Karen is doing everything in her power to deflect, as we'll see later in this show. As we've already seen, any conversation she talks about, she's literally deflecting. I need to make sure nobody thinks he met with me last night. Mm-hmm. And so it's just one of those things where it's like, oh God. But yeah, they're overanalyzing the hell out of this picture. And I'm just like, y'all know she could have got, the pictures could have been taken at different times to where she didn't have a knee tattoo when the rock picture was. But then they're going to say her face is different. I'm like, her face is not different. The lighting's different. You can't see it because the sun's directly on the back of her damn head. Literally in the rock photo.
The lighting's different, but also that's the one where her hair is long. And, a lot of people know this, especially girls, which I think is why the guys are freaking out about it more, is your hair can drastically change how your face looks. Like when someone gets a haircut, sometimes they look like a completely different person, because they can make certain features stand out depending on how your hair is trimmed. So since her hair is so much longer in that picture, it might have made her face look decently different. But that doesn't mean she's a different person. She just doesn't have short hair in that photo.
True. But not that I would know. The most drastic my hair since you guys can see me now, the most drastic my hair is just bald. So many people feel the need to point out that I have gray hair now because they're not used to seeing that. And I'm just like, had it since my early 20s, but okay. But yes, all that going into it, people are legitimately thinking, oh my God, Miranda's the catfish. They brought in a fake person to roll up in this piece. So there's some strikes against her. Joey basically fell in love with her video. Let's just make that completely. Like, Joey fell even harder to where Joey is trying to get them digits. Joey ain't trying to smash no more. Joey trying to bring her home to mom and be like, so this is your new daughter-in-law. What's good? And maybe get a threesome out of it because she's bisexual. And when we find that out, let's just face it, every guy, their default setting is, I can maybe get a three-way out of this. Just maybe. I got to play this right, and I got to know what type of person she is. I may be able to get a three-way out of this. Just one, just once, just for the belt. As Barney Wood Stenton would say it on How I Met Your Mother. Just for the belt. The threesome belt. Just holding it up like, I had one, suck it.
I will say before anyone is in our comments like, oh my God, that's so sexist. Like, I don't think it's like every man when they hear a woman is bisexual. I think it's like every person when they hear their person is bisexual, because my husband, fun fact, is one of the few people I've ever, dated who was not bisexual. And a lot of my ex-boyfriends would openly like guy watch with me, and I'd be like, hey, we should have a threesome. So and I know other friends who are in those same situations. So I think it's just like a human programming thing. Like, if there's a potential and your significant other is extremely sexually like hyper, like how Miranda is lusting over pretty much everyone other than like poor Shuby at this point. Like,
only because they haven't talked. Make no mistake.
I think Shuby and Chris are the only two she's not like openly trying to like bring to her bed. When it's someone like that, I feel like it's natural for Joey to be like, we could have a threesome, because Miranda would probably say yes. Like, she would most likely say yes and be like, come on, let's go.
It's more than possible. I mean, like, and that's just her personality, I feel like. Not because she's bi, but because her personality, and she's bi. So
yeah, I know people who are both straight and completely gay like that. Some people are just more hypersexual. It's just who they are. And the good thing is, a lot of people, like 30-second soapbox before we go back to the show, I've noticed a lot of people that are hypersexual, even though people call them like gross and dirty and disgusting and stuff, those are usually some of the cleanest, get tested most often people I've ever seen. Whereas most of them are the like some of the ones who get tested the most and make sure that they are A-okay. So I just, love that about them. And just PSA, hypersexual people are usually some of the best ones around. I have like 3 friends who are, and they're super safe, and hopefully Miranda is like that too.
hopefully. So basically, let's see here. The house overanalyzes her, and then Miranda messages Sammy, and this is where Sammy lets her know that her feelings were hurt by her accusations of like, oh, you're being a catfish, or I think Sammy's a catfish, and it's like just Miranda couldn't read the room, and Sammy actually is almost in tears at this point. At that, Miranda does apologize, like, I'm sorry, and it's like, and then honestly, Sammy kind of moves on with it. I think it's one of those things, she moves on, but she doesn't forget it. Like, kind of like frenemy type of thing. Like, you kind of screwed me over. I'm not going to forget that. Like, if I become an influencer again, I'm not going to lie. You're on the chopping block already. Then they both decide to get into a competition to get a dirty emoji from Joey. So I'm assuming the eggplant. I'm basically, that's the only thing I'm not savvy in the dirty emoji or the emoji speak, but I'm assuming they just mean who's the first one's gonna get an eggplant from this dude.
Yeah, it's the eggplant, spoiler alert. I'm wondering, watching it back, because I didn't pick up on this the first time I watched the show, but I'm wondering why they just are saying a naughty emoji, but because like you said, it's the eggplant. So they're trying to see who will get the eggplant from Joey first, and they kind of like virtually shake on it, which will be fun in subsequent episodes to see what they do to try to get this eggplant.
Jesus, I feel bad for Joey now because I mean, like, I get the guy's horny and a little bit of a tool, but at the same time, like, don't play with this man's emotions just to get an eggplant emoji and like, I win. What do you win? Bragging rights, woo! And it's like, no, better put some money on the line at least, damn it, and make sure he gets some of it. You know, like, I'll bet you $20 I can get, like, I'll bet you $20 I can get an eggplant emoji from that guy. I'll bet you that 22. We're gonna just buy, but we're gonna buy him drinks just for the hell of it. You know, something. Don't lead this man on. Shameful. But oh my God. Then finally, Chris messages Mercedes/Karen, and they talk about Miranda's video, and she tries to deflect suspicions to Joey, literally being like, "Dude, me and Antonio talked every day. Sorry, me and Bay talked every day." I'm like, oh my God. Me and Bay talked every day, and we think Joey's the cat. Like, she is literally throwing it on everybody but her. Like, everybody gets to be a catfish but freaking me. I don't give a damn. And I'm just like, what in the hell? But she really does try it. And then Joey just continues to feel bad about Antonio.
Yeah, he's using his like magnet letters to put like, I'm sorry, Antonio, on the refrigerator. And I'm just like, oh my God. Like, at first he felt bad about Alana, and now he feels bad about Antonio. So like poor Joey's probably freaking out for the next time they vote because he's like, I keep picking the wrong people. He's trying to flush out these catfishes, and both people who've left have not been catfishes. So Joey, your intuition's off, dude. Your intuition's off. But yeah, like Mercedes has told Chris, like, me and Antonio know 100% Joey's a catfish. But then earlier she was telling Sammy, like, we think Rebecca's the catfish. So it's like Karen's getting messy. Karen's getting messy because and this isn't a spoiler because I don't remember how this plays out and if she gets tripped up like this, but in general, I've seen this happen with the challenge and stuff. These people will also talk. And so if someone says the wrong thing, you could blow your entire game up. So, you know, she's definitely playing with fire, trying to get that heat off her. It would have been good to have just one target and tell everyone that one target and let it play out.
Yeah, it would have. But we'll see what happens. Chris definitely gets suspicious with how much, with basically that entire conversation, to a point where he's doubting Joey, but he's also doubting her to a point where it's like, oh God. But then finally, after all this, we get the new player. New player alert, because they've decided we're gonna keep this at 8 people, 7 people, 8. I think it's 8.
Yeah, it's 8 until the end, and then towards the end they start whittling it down to a top 5.
Okay, so basically they bring in a new dude. His name is Alex. He's unemployed and a cheesemonger. He's also married. Okay.
With 2 kitty cats.
With kitty cat children, yes. In which case, basically, he's also a huge nerd. He decided to come on the show, and because of all this, he then makes the conscious decision to catfish as Adam, typical alpha male, in shape looking, sports loving, stereotypical guy. And I see this, and I'm just like, I hate you already. Because you are going to break some of these women's hearts. I fucking know it. Like, Miranda's going to take one look at this dude and be like, oh my God. Yes.
So I jumped the gun last week's episode where I mentioned that the person I've liked the least in both US seasons is this guy, Alex. And I mentioned you get to hear me rant about him on episode 4. I forgot he came at the end of this episode. So next episode will be when I start going off. But Red Flag City, Disclaimer before we even get to those: if you meet a guy who acts the way Adam is going to be acting, run. Run. Because it's not just the typical, like, I mean, because the way Alex sets it up is just how Karen has done it. Like, I'm gonna play someone who's more like, who the world sees as more attractive than myself for the purpose of flirtation, and making it further in this game. And so to me, it's like, yeah, you're playing the game, let's see what happens. But then his personality comes out, and I'm just like, oh my God. Like, I hope IRL, he's a nice guy and his wife is safe. That's what I'll say. And that the cats are safe. But yeah, just, ooh, Lordy, I am not a fan of Alex. And whenever I have a strong dislike of someone, I always remind people on our show that we are seeing a small snippet of them. We're seeing, them having been filmed for weeks condensed into a 40-minute episode. And on top of that, they know they're on a show. It's not like an episode of Cops where it's just people really on the street. So their personalities might be altered. So if you know Alex in real life, don't necessarily call him a douchebag, but from the Alex we're going to see on this show, he is a douchebag.
Oh God. Angie, you're lucky I love you, woman. Because I swear, po Jesus, the amount of douchebaggery and dumbassery I feel like we're about to see from this new character, from your warnings alone, is gonna make me not want to watch this show. So
I'll say the redeeming factor is that, unlike Josh from the challenge, where it seems like most people like him and it keeps him on the screen longer, not only does Alex rub me the wrong way as a viewer, but without saying what he does or who he does it to, he rubs a lot of the cast the wrong way as well. So people aren't just like bending over and worshiping his feet, even though he picked, a gorgeous profile picture. There is some self-awareness in the house, and they react appropriately to a lot of stuff he does, which you don't see on a lot of reality TV from these people.
You still with me?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, I lost for a second. Basically, we that's where they end the episode, and we basically just see that we don't even get we don't get a preview or anything, but that's where they end the episode. From there, I can already tell you, don't like Alex / Adam. I'm glad both names start with A. That's about it. Good God, I'm like, Jesus, this is gonna be horrible. But we'll see what happens with this show.
So, again, this is my third watch through of season 1. I've only seen season 2 one time, because it just got done airing like a couple weeks ago. But really enjoyed season 1. I'm enjoying watching it again and seeing Papa D's new reactions to it. And we're just getting started. We've got, let's see, because we've got Alex, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 more people, I think, and then we whittle it down to top 5, and I think there's only like 11 or 12 episodes, so we're close to halfway through the season. So the rest of the episodes, they're pretty action packed, but in a good way. I never feel like it's just dragging on and on and on.
Oh God. Well, we will see. We will definitely see. But in the meantime, and the green time, hit them with them socials.
So you can find me on social media at the AngieChu. Of course, if you guys are watching the video footage, that's on YouTube at the AngieChu. You can also see me making cool stuff on Instagram, TikTok, and posting my tweets. I mentioned last week I'd taken like a subconscious Twitter hiatus where I just didn't really use Twitter for like 2 weeks, and I didn't know why. So I've been slowly building back up to Twitter greatness, mainly just trolling on Twitter with the Ace Court bot feature. But I'm still on Twitter. I'll be sharing some stuff on there, easing back into it since I don't know why I stopped opening the app anyway. But definitely if you want some video footage, Instagram and TikTok, and YouTube for all my other content creations.
Understandable. It's okay. Take a break off social media. Sometimes even for your mental health, even if it's just one app. In the meantime, you can find me on Snapchat at Papa D618. You can find me on the Twitter at Papa D618. You can find me on the Instagram at Papa D618. You can find me on the Facebook. Do not find me on the Facebook. There's too much weird, suspicious things happening. And because I'm going to tell you right now, I don't respond to random Facebook friend requests. I just don't. I delete them. So like, don't do that. You can also find me on the TikTok at PapaD_618. If you find me on the TikTok and want to follow, you are more than welcome. I don't make videos at this point. I just honestly, I send them to random people in my friends list, either on TikTok or on Facebook Messenger. If you find me and start to follow me and want to send me something, please send me video. Please, you know what? Send me videos in your hockey jerseys. Just send me videos of you rocking a hockey jersey, doing, whatever. Whoever, I don't care who you support. Blackhawks, Predators, Blues, Washington, whatever's, Generals. I don't follow hockey. I don't. The Pittsburgh Penguins, because apparently everyone hates the Penguins. At least Predators fans do, because my friend who's a super Preds fan is like, we did better than the Penguins, or we didn't lose to the Penguins. So I don't know. Send me that. I'm cool with that. Do you?
I'm sending you a hockey video right now that I found the other day. Where is it at? it had me laughing for like a long time.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I honestly really like hockey. I like the things I've seen hockey for. I know it's a great sport, and I can't. And here's the thing: I can watch almost any sport if I have a stake in the game, if I'm emotionally invested, if I care about who's winning. I can almost watch any sports game. That being said, hockey, I feel like it's akin to pro wrestling because I kind of just want to watch it for fights. When I watch it for the dudes throwing their gloves on the ground, like, what's up? And just fighting on skates. I'm like, oh my God, this is better than pro wrestling because they're on skates. Like, literally, this is better than pro wrestling because they're on skates. And it's real. They're trying to mess each other up. Nobody's trying to kill each other, hopefully. But at the same time, it's like, bro, they're scrapping. Hoods, like, jerseys are getting pulled over heads and undershots and shit. And I'm like, yes. I'm sorry, but yes, I'm here for this. And
it's
the
like,
bigger
it's like fighting is a part
of
hockey culture. Like whenever you have the one random person who's like, oh my God, why are they fighting? It's like, do you even watch hockey?
Do you even know this sport?
It's dudes on ice with sticks beating each other up, and occasionally the puck goes in the goal, and it's amazing.
Okay,
that's the sport.
All right, and if we learned anything from Letterkenny, 2 fights and you're done. 2 fights and you're done, bro. 2 fights and you're done. Unless you're Jonesy. Because there's an episode where they're going to freaking play the natives, and they just like, get on the ice, got it. On the ice, automatic get in a fight. Go to the penalty box, get out of the penalty box. And it's like, get out of the penalty box, automatic get in a fight. 2 fights and you're done, bro. 2 fights and you're done, bro. That's the rule. We're good. We're done. We're walking out. Barely. And then like on the way out of the stadium, literally walking off the ice, just all their stuff's packed and they're just rolling out. They get no fight with natives again, and it's like, son of a bitch. It's like they're just limping out like, hey guys, bye. Oh, oh my God.
I was just thinking the other day, I need to watch Letterkenny. I haven't watched it in like a year, which is really weird for me because it's like one of
Same.
my go-to binge shows. So, and I think they have a new season coming out in like a month or so anyway. I think I saw that on TikTok, not
They're
TikTok,
shooting
Instagram.
seasons 10 and 11 right now. That
Okay.
is what I've seen on the TikTok and the Instagram from the cast members, but various cast members. They're
I have
shooting
to
10 and 11 right now.
I have to do a binge in preparation for 10 and 11.
Oh my God, those people are so quick-witted. It is the most quick-witted, dry humor, hilarious show I've ever seen. And all I can say is, I will never be that quick. Let me rephrase. No, I will never be that quick-witted on anyone. I'm not good. Like it's one of those things. Like I want to meet them. I never want to piss them off because it's like just the first episode where the I forget his name. The main goth kid.
Wait, oh, Goth Kid Stewart.
Stewart. Yes, the main where Stewart rolls up and they just tear this dude apart with him wearing a tank top and no muscles. And I'm just like, damn. Y'all just shred this dude in minutes. I'm like, wow. Oh my God. Like if Canadians are this sharp-witted, why don't they run shit? No, y'all take that back. I know why. They're smart enough to not want to. They're smart enough to be like, we're in Canada. We got our money, our decent politics and politicians, and our very diverse population of attractive people. And we're just gonna, you know what? We're just gonna do our thing. We're not starting ish with other people. We got enough problems between the regular Canadians and the French Canadians, those pompous bastards. If I leave you with anything from this podcast, do not let your race and stereotypes define what you should or shouldn't like. Don't feel like you have to, because you're black, you have to like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air or Martin or Cosby. Cosby was good, so was Fresh Prince.
Those
Never
are all
got
good
into
shows, though.
They are. I never got into Martin. I tried it.
The black one for me, don't feel like you have to like Tyler Perry movies because you're black.
That's very true. But if you don't like the plays, there's something wrong with you. They're hilarious. Anything with Medea in it, when it comes to those plays, are effing hilarious. And they teach you legit life lessons that transcend race. But yeah, no, don't feel like you have to like Tyler Perry. I don't like Tyler Perry movies that
Same.
much. Like they're too damn serious. Like for real, they cover real stuff. Like that is truly I'm like, I don't need that level of realism in a movie.
Mine is what I call cop out endings because I think irks me the most because I've been a writer most of my life and like even in school took a bunch of creating writing courses and endings are hard. Like endings are hard, but the sign of a good writer is giving a good ending. And I feel like every Tyler Perry movie, it has good drama and it has good comedy. And then in the last 10 minutes, like the power of religion just ties everything up in a bow. Just like all of a sudden everyone's like, praise the Lord. And like everything ends on a good note, the end. And I'm just like, wait, what? No. Like you needed like 25 more minutes to wrap this plot up perfectly. And like the power of religion could have helped some of these people, but like someone needed to go to jail. Someone needed to like die, unfortunately. Like someone probably moved away. Like I feel like every time I watch one, the ending, I'm just like, oh my God, he did it again.
Yeah. Point is, do not let your race or stereotypes of what you should like define you and what you do like. I love Letterkenny. I also really like rock music. You know, everything from Kiss to Avenged Sevenfold, some Slipknot, Limp Bizkit, a bunch of stuff. Do not let that define you. And you know what? I'm gonna say this: give Letterkenny a shot if you haven't already. They're not sponsoring us. Wish they would. Wish Hulu would sponsor us. Somebody. But you know what? Give Letterkenny a shot. Like if you're not into reality TV shows, which is perfectly fine, Give Letterkenny a shot. Just watch Letterkenny.
It's amazing.
It is, especially when Jay Baruchel shows up as like I'm alt-right, like I forget, like alt-right Jay or something. I'm just like, when he shows up with a tiki torch and like I'm like, Letterkenny went there. Like Letterkenny went, like they addressed real issues, and again, issues that transcended race. It's just like this dude is a jackass on every level, and he finds jackasses in Canada to roll with. And spoiler alert, he gets in a fight with our heroes, our main characters, and the indigenous people. Because I don't want to call them Indians. I feel like that's offensive. But the indigenous people, the native Canadians. I don't want to say Native Americans, but they are North America.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically the indigenous people. Oh my God,
I follow some of the cast members on Instagram, and what I've loved over the years is they're just like genuinely good, nice people. Like they respond to fans all the time. It's not just the throwaway like thanks, cool. Like they will actually talk to their fans. They appreciate their fans, and they also stand up for like real life issues without being like cringy SJW. Like they'll speak out against like racism, sexism, right, medical malpractice, things like that without getting preachy or over the top. And I'm just like, I love you guys. I love you all. Like they're just, which I mean, it's the Canadian stereotype, but it's proving true. Like they're just good people. Like they're people, if you saw them on the street, no matter how starstruck you might get, they would just wave you over and be like, come have a burger, and just talk to you like you've been a friend for a long time. And I love that about them. I should follow all of them, but I try not to overload my Instagram.
More than a few of them. The ones I could find. Early for instance, I guess the ones that presented themselves to me through like suggestions. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, it's such a good show. It is such a good show. Super recommended. Super. I can't wait for the next season. I know COVID stopped everybody and everything. Damn, this is a hard year, but you know what? Oh my God. And I'm sure they're going to address COVID. I am 100% I refuse to believe there's not going to be at least 1 to 2 episodes where people are wearing masks and they are social distancing. And what I love about it is they're like, all this is from Canada's perspective. So it's fresh. There's like, it's not about America. It is how people, it's literally Canadian humor and how Canadians handle certain things. I'm like, yes.
Have to, because they were on tour, you know, when COVID hit, because, and for anyone who's listening to this for the first time, I know we had a shorter recording today. So if you guys normally don't make it the entire 2 hours, we usually spend like the last 10 minutes just like talking about stuff we like. We just had a shorter like roundabout of the actual summary today, but yeah, they were on tour because they were going to come to Cincinnati, which for anyone listening is just over 90 minutes outside of where we are, on March 28th. And I remember that because March 28th was a coworker's wedding, but she had one of those early weddings that was at like 1 p.m. and the reception started at like 3. And Zach and I's wedding was the next weekend. And so we both wanted to go. Tickets weren't sold out. And we were saying like, we don't want to buy tickets early and then get, you know, after JC's wedding, like if her wedding, you know, goes over and we want to stay longer, or if we just have stuff to do because our wedding's in a week. So we were literally going to buy tickets like the night before and drive up. And a week before any of that went down, everything shut down. So I don't know where they were, but they were somewhere in the United States on tour when COVID hit. So I feel like they've got to do something in the actual show because they all had to like rush home to Canada and quarantine.
Pretty much. But we're going to leave you with that because it's getting late. I gotta definitely get some sleep to get through this workday tomorrow. Angie's a mom, so she needs all the sleep she can get, even with the support system she has. So I will leave you with this: peace, love, and pancakes. Also, Knuckles is not red.
Goodbye.
You are listening to the AngieChu Podcast Radio Network.